Oh.
Okay, so that's the baby. Let's go back. Hey guys, so as you can see, I have a baby coming along, and I hope he looks more like, better than me. It's got me thinking. I've always been a person that's thinking about things. Why do I want to have kids? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? What kind of world are we bringing to? Can we
Uh-huh. It looks squishy. But I mean, they never...
give them a good life, really? So it got me thinking. Okay, so if we were to give you or anybody, or if you go give someone a present, say it's your loved one, your family members, your best friend, give them a present, a gift, and you're like, okay, what is the ultimate gift we can give someone? So at the moment we give like appliances, or we may give, whatever we may give someone. We give someone, what's the ultimate gift? Gift. Gift. So this got me thinking, since we are having a kid, like what's going to be the ultimate gift that we can give our kid? Like, is it, can we give them love? Can we give them, money? Can we give them comfort? Yes, these are all nice things. Can we give them knowledge? Can we give them presents? Whatever it may be, right? So when you are giving gifts to whoever it may be, you're thinking about these things. Give them a great job, give them whatever it may be. What if you were to wish something upon someone, what would your ultimate gift be to this person? What's the ultimate thing we can give someone? And say we give someone money, then they've got the stresses of, well, if they lose their money, they lose it. Can they gain it back? Do other people not like them for it? How are they going to spend it, right? So if we give them comfort, can they become too comfortable? And it starts to make their quality of life bad. Or, if you're not able to deal with it, it may make your life bad for whatever reason. If you have knowledge of all these things, it may mean that you may separate from people. You can't communicate to people that well. You feel bored around people. So if you have too much knowledge, right? And you can't relax, you're aware of things too much. You can't enjoy yourself. If you have love, you may lose that love one day, right? Eventually you will lose your parents one day. So any of these gifts that we give someone, it has a downside to it, right? So can we give them the gift of coping? So coping means like if they feel bad about things, or they're sad, they're able to cope through it. That's a nice gift, So when you envision someone in your mind that you absolutely would love nothing more, as you're looking at your child or your friend or your best friend or your parents, there's nothing more that you would love for them. What is that? What would you, what is that ultimate thing that we all sort of inherently sort of want to give to this person? And we can't, no matter how great you make your life for people around you, so you may give them comfort, food, money, everything, knowledge, friends, you give them the perfect life, right? But it can all be taken away. Say your country goes to a war, or there's some kind of issue in the world or something, and something happens. Now that person is left sort of in a state where all this that you've given has been taken away. So what are you left with? So what is this gift that you can give this one person that will fix, that you can sort of say, I've given them the ultimate gift. And I can only explain it in one word. It is to exist well. So where does this theory come from, and why is it important? Because when we're waking every day and we're like, okay, I must have money. And if you chase, 8 to 10 hours of the day, you're chasing a good job and money, it's going to lead you to a certain direction in life. If you chase love, it's going to take you in another direction in life. If you chase comfort, it will take you in another direction. If you chase knowledge. So what are you chasing? This is all about perspective and what should we chase? So around what I'm saying is, any given one of these things is going to take us, if you chase knowledge, you may become super smart, but we don't know where it's going to take you. If you become too comfortable, where is it going to take you? You may be too comfortable for life and you don't enjoy it or don't have fun. If you chase money, you may end up, super stressed about money. If you chase love, where does that end up leaving you? Does it leave you feeling love, but you feel like your other aspects of life are not going so well? So, in any given moment, you've got to ask yourself, okay, what am I chasing? I think if we potentially chase this concept of existing well, then all these sort of things sort of almost get fixed automatically. They're within the range of existing well. But if we chase any one of these things, it may lead to not our ultimate gift that we can give someone or a gift to yourself. So existing world. So I guess if we look at any of our history, our past 5,000 years and religions and philosophies and everything else, right? So we have many philosophies. We have Buddhism. Buddhism says that life is suffering. So what is that? In a simple form, what are they trying to say? It's like, no matter what you get, you're going to suffer. You're going to feel this internal suffering inside, Christianity, it is about very much like, there is some kind of inherent break between, the moment that Adam and Eve did their initial sin, we separated from our God, and we have to somehow reconcile. There is this inherent suffering within inside of us, right? If we look at sciences, if we look at physics, they're always like, yeah, we're trying to find the answers, but we can never really get there. It's so far away from us. The actual answer is so far away from us. So if you look at psychology or philosophy, psychology is very much like, okay, we've got our brain, and it's always in a balance and turmoil. You're in a balanced point, you're in turmoil. You're in balance, it's chaos and order, right? And we're trying to always find this balance. So what I'm saying is not something new. We all inherently know all about this. I'm just sort of reframing it into the perspective of existing well. So if we look at, if we really look at some of these people that we really look down upon in life, like we look at someone that might be on drugs or is homeless or something, and essentially all of them have the same goal. Everybody in this world has the same goal. Exist well. But how are we going to get to that goal, right? Are we going to get it through the philosophies of our religion? Are we going to get it through physics? Are we going to get it through sciences? Are we going to get it through knowledge? Are we going to get it through comforts? Are we going to get it through modern psychology, right? But they're all pretty much saying the same thing. There is some kind of disturbance inside of all humans, and how do we get through it to exist well? Do we have lots of comfort in life? So people with money will say, well, if you fill your life with all this stuff, you may exist well. If you fill yourself with lots of knowledge, philosophers will say that, you will exist well. But does it really happen? I think there is a bit of a disconnect in this. So I think what pretty much is just a perspective shift. Everything that we're doing, let's try to go, okay, this thing that I'm going to do right now, if my parents or someone that really loved me, would they want me to be part of this? Is this going to help me exist well? And same for the people around you. We're all essentially looking to exist well. We all got the same goal. When we're on the phone to each other, when we're talking, when we're trying to get a goal, you guys are working with me, I'm working with you, we all have the same goal. How we get to this goal, we don't know. We've tried many thousands of things. We will kill each other to exist well. We will go to war, we will build, we will work, we'll sacrifice our happiness to exist well. We're doing all these things to exist well. But I think if we sort of make an effort to go, okay, well, I'm going to go do this, I'm going to do this job, I'm going to go work, I'm going to go sleep, I'm going to do this lifestyle, I'm going to aim for these goals, are these genuinely going to help me exist well? Let's look at the most extreme circumstances in existing well. So existing well, you've got two circumstances, two spectrums of it. You've got like, your life is absolutely 100% perfect, you cannot get any better. And every single thing you want is there. But if you have noticed, some people's lives that are getting close to perfect, the kids of very, very wealthy people, there's an internal brewing turmoil inside the human that we just don't know how to overcome. And some of them turn to drugs, some of them turn to real weird stuff, right? And even yourself, you might notice that when your life is almost in a nice moment, you feel a turmoil coming up. Oh, I missed this, I don't this, oh, have I done this right, could I have done something better, right? It's this turmoil inside a human. So that's on the best end, right? And say you've got the very worst situation. So your son, daughter, your kids, your loved one, whatever, is existing in the perfect life, or yourself, versus it's the very worst of circumstances. Your country's gone to war, people are dying, there's barely enough food to eat, you're surviving, whatever it is, right? The worst of circumstances. It's a war going on. Something like the people that are in the trenches of Ukraine might be feeling right now. The worst of life, right? How in these circumstances, and everything in the middle that we live in, and in the worst of circumstances, can we exist well? I think it's a matter of, I don't have the answers for this, but it's just a perspective shift, So if someone comes to me and saying, hey, I want to be super successful, and I want to come work with you, and I want to have all this money and all this success, but what are you really saying? I just want to exist well. You know what I mean? That's what everyone's trying to do, exist well, right? So if you compartmentalize your life, my 8 hours a day is money, my 4 hours a day is, looking after my house, my family, 8 hours of sleeping, whatever. If you focus that your whole life is based on these things, it'll lead you in lots of different directions. But what I'm trying to say is we want our life to be encompassed, everything in our life to be encompassed by the perspective of exist well. So, yeah, if I'm looking, if I'm now thinking about my, kid's going to be here, what does it mean? What would I love? What sort of gets me going, like, my life is worth living, and it makes me feel a little bit good about bringing a consciousness into the world where, there can be potentially a lot of suffering for that person, coming into the world. So what makes me feel good is like, okay, I guess the only simple thing is that kid going to feel through their life that life is worth living? Through the pain of existence, is it worth? Like the pain of childbirth, was that worth having the baby? If that kid's going through all these trials and they're living life saying, yeah, you know what, I feel all these bad things, but it's still worth it. My life is still pretty good. And then, this is the best I can think of. Obviously, people can think of better things in the future and, whatever it may be, but this is the best I can think of, right? So, I guess I'm trying to think of the questions that people may be asking me right now, saying, hey, what you're saying is a little bit weird or whatever. I said, if I were, when I'm looking at the kid going, okay, well, if I'm not around or they're going through a turbulent time or whatever, I want them to exist well, not be like, they may be going through a hard time, say they don't have friends at school, or they don't feel in place, or they don't feel good about life itself, then somehow they can still exist well. That's what I want to sort of impart into them, because I guess, what else do we have, as the ultimate goal in life? I'm sure there's many goals that each individual can have, but I feel as though that's an all-encompassing goal that everybody is aiming for we may say it in different words. We want to live a quality of life, we want a fun life, we want a happy life, a joyous life, we want freedom, That's another way of saying we want to exist well. So, and we all have different ways to get to that freedom. Some people think that if we love each other, we're going to exist well. If we have lots of money, we'll exist well. If we have lots of comfort, we'll exist well. If we have lots of knowledge, we'll exist well. They all have to be there, and well, they all will help us exist well. But I don't think that should be our all-encompassing goal. It should be framed around existing well. So, I guess, yeah, thinking about the kid and sort of bringing this up in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, if I had a kid in me, I just want them to sort of exist well, you know, where they're like, in the moments where they're not with us, you know, they might not want to tell us, hey, I'm going through a hard time in life. They might want to keep quiet about it, but so that we won't even be aware of it, right? But I want them to have the abilities or the systems in place where even through those times, they can exist well, you know. So, and even I might not be able to help, even if I'm aware of it, but they get through life where, yeah, you can say, well, life has, you know, a lot of sad things about it, you know. People die, you know, all these bad things happen, you know, people get sick, have ailments, you know, lots of tragedies happen. But in all of life, how do we exist well? So, this is a very philosophical thing, yeah, it's not, it's, you know, some people might say, well, how is this relevant? But I think if you look at the world as a whole, if you look at each individual as a whole, everybody is in some kind of turmoil. You know, there's 7 billion, 8 billion people in here, and if I go through every single individual, they're going through an enormous amount of internal turmoil. So I laugh, but you know, ironically, and you're going through it, I'm going through it. But like, is that normal? Is that okay? Is that acceptable? Can we not feel a little bit joyous about life? You know? And in my own life, you know, I can look at the situation and go, well, this part's not working out. This money issue is a problem. Work is an issue. This person's a problem. This is an issue, and then I get sucked up into it, and I start to get really upset about things, right? And I'm like, is this really what I want about life? Do I really want to live a life like this? I'm like, not really, but I just do it anyway because I sort of have to get these things done. But then sometimes I'm like, okay, how do I exist well? And then sort of helps me ignore those things and go back into a moment of existing well.